Right, both of us.
Oh,
3, 2, 1. Perfect. Hi, welcome back to Nugget Productions. I'm Eli, I'll be your host today, and with me I have...
Grant Kirkhope. It's me.
So just explain some of your roles that you've had in previous games, previous projects, all that stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, sorry.
Yeah.
So I guess I've done Banjo-Kazooie, Goldeneye, Donkey Kong 64, Perfect Dark, Viva, Pinata, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, Civilization, World of Warcraft, Shadowlands, Minecraft Dungeons, Meier, Rabbids, those two games, and Sparks of Hope, those two. So that's nearly it, I think. Probably a bit more, but I can't remember.
First question's about Goldeneye, but not specifically Goldeneye, but bringing back Goldeneye. That's a project that you were very much heavily involved in as well, wasn't it?
Right, yeah. That was really cool. I mean, I feel like, they nearly brought it back probably like 15 years ago, and I feel that's when they should have done it, really. It's a bit late now. So that's, I feel like if people still want to play it, that's pretty crazy. And when the first week or so, I think, or 2 weeks it was out on the Switch, it had a massive download and people played it, so it's crazy, really. It's like, you'd have thought that would come back and people would start to play it, so cool.
You wrote the main theme for the mockumentary as well, bringing back Goldeneye. Did they just approach you because you were part of the credits, or was it a different thing?
Yeah. So the guy that did it, I always forget his name. It's Jim Stallone. So he was the guy that put it all together. So he just contacted to say, "We're making the movie. Do you want to contribute to a track to it?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'll do a track to it." But when it came to actually make, he said, "Actually, can you just do all of it?" So that was super cool, good fun to do that. And I did a rock track with an old friend of mine called Toby Jeps, who was the lead singer for a band called Little Angels, who used to play for Donkeys years ago. So he came back and we did that track together, and I did the music for the whole movie, so it was great fun. That
track is always just on my Spotify playlist. I see
right.
it going, I'm like, let's go. Right, traveling back in time to 1997. I'm not born yet. You are probably having the time of your
I'm 100.
Yeah. Banjo-Kazooie. You mentioned something in your panel earlier about how that came about, just for the audience at home who wasn't watching that. How'd that come in?
So that started as Dream, right? It was called Dream first of all, and we were kind of messing around trying to get this kind of 2.5D thing going that was more like a Zelda adventure game compared to what Banjo-Kazooie became. And we spent about a year and a half maybe on Dream, but the N64 wasn't powerful enough to run it. We had this kind of really weird system with the floor. We could make it stretch to any shape. It could be like a really fantastic background, but couldn't run it. It was too complicated. At the same time, Conker's Bad Fur Day was getting. It was called Conker's.
Yeah, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
I think it's called Conker's 12 Tales originally. So they were making that, and they had that kind of the kind of more traditional Mario 64 look about it. So it ran really quickly, and the game 64 looked a lot better. So we were taking the show at Rare. Look at this game; it looks great. Why isn't your game working like that? So we had a rethink. We changed it, made Banjo-Kazooie more like the kind of Mario, the way that looked and ran. And then we changed the lead character of Edson out to be a bear. And then the backpack turned up, wings came out of it, Kazooie got born, and that was it.
What was your inspiration behind a lot of the soundtrack of Banjo-Kazooie?
I was just trying to find something a bit crazy, wacky, quirky, because the characters are that nature. Like Banjo's like a bit of a dumb bear, Kazooie's quite a wisecracking, sarcastic bird. So I was trying to find music that reflected that kind of opposite personality. So that kind of jaunty, tritony, umpire thing seemed to fit. And I kind of got that from watching Danny Elfman's Beetlejuice, which has got a lot of that umpire in it. I thought, oh, that sounds like a comedic thing that could also be dark, with kind of like he did in Beetlejuice with dark harmonies for like Mad Monster Mansion. So I thought that fitted, and so it kind of stuck. And that was it. It wasn't like I had any kind of insight. It was just like I thought, oh, that sounds all right. And I'd only been at Rare about a year, so I had no idea what I was doing with it. I just kind of thought, that sounds all right, and we did that.
PAL and NTSC consoles, especially the N64, ran at different speeds. Like NTSC ran at 60 Hz, PAL ran at 50 Hz. Were you writing the music with the PAL version of the game in mind, or the NTSC version of the game in mind? You
know what, I can't think about that. I feel like the dev kits that we had a standard dev kit, right, that sat inside a computer, right? So I don't think that I don't think it factored into the music. I think it still ran the same way. The music wasn't faster or slower in either version. So I don't think about that. It never. I guess the programmers are more of an idea than I did, but that for me wasn't an issue. Yeah, so I don't think the gate. They can make separate versions. They must have made separate. There must have been a converter, so you're just a programmer.
Perfect Dark and Goldeneye, they're first-person shooters, whereas Banjo-Kazooie is very much more a silly and bouncy platformer. What was the different processes you went through writing music for Goldeneye and Perfect Dark compared to Banjo-Kazooie?
Well, I'd done Goldeneye. That was my first game when I got there. And then Banjo-Kazooie was the next game, and then Banjo-Tooie, and then I think I went to Perfect Dark after that. So it was quite nice to get something that was different. You know, so I've done like platform games, so I ended up doing the kind of sci-fi thing. So, you know, at that time, X-Files was massive at the time, and like the first Blade Runner movie. So I was really keen on those. So I tried, in my head, Perfect Dark, it's me trying to sound a bit like that. You might not think it sounds that way, but that's what was in my head. So, and it was cool to do different things. And also, I was doing Banjo-Tooie, Donkey Kong 64, and Perfect Dark at the same time. So the 3 games, it was a quite heavy workload. So I was going from like tune for Banjo-Tooie, tune for Perfect Dark, tune for DK, back and round and round and round. So that was a kind of tough couple of years. But it was fun, you know.
You are known for notoriously absolutely despising the DK rap. You spoke about it in the panel earlier, we were just laughing our heads off in the back. Why is that?
I think the DK rap, so me and George Andreas, that DK's a lead designer, he did the lyrics, I put it all together and did the music. And we kind of thought it would be like a funny little thing for DK, like, you know, it'd be a funny rap song with singing about grapes and bananas and all the rest of it. But I think when it came out, people thought I was trying to write a credible rap track, you know, which of course I wasn't. So I got a little bit of a slagging off for that. I thought people didn't really get the joke at the time. But I feel like it's taken 20 years. I think people finally get the joke now. And I think the DK rap is like, it's so bad it's good sort of thing. So, you know, I feel like I love-hate it. I like, some days it's funny, some days it's like, ooh, you know. So, you know, it's super cool that it made it into the Mario movie. That's fantastic. And, you know, it's funny that people like it now. It's funny it's in Smash Brothers and people like it. So, you know, I feel like it's you know, I feel like any composer to get known for anything, good or bad, is good.
So someone comes up to you saying DK.
Yeah. So you know, it was, you know, it's a great thing to do. It was funny at the time, and then it went wrong, and it's funny again now. So it's come around again.
Internet culture very much coming in play there.
Yeah.
Back onto the Mario movie, you weren't credited there, were you?
No, I'm a bit unfortunate about that. Like, I kind of hoped I would be, but Nintendo decided they didn't want to credit anything that they owned. So I don't know why. That was the way they decided it. So that was it.
The Nintendo ninjas coming after you.
Well, you know, I feel like they were very polite and very nice when I asked them about it, and they said Mr. Miyamoto, you know, was very grateful to write the track and all the rest of it, you know. So, but it would have been nice to see my name in the credits, but you know, it's not to be.
Back onto Mario, you were working on Mario Rabbids, and as well, you're here today as part of the Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope team. Did Ubisoft just come to you like, look, you're working with us, or was it like a different story that was a bit longer and a bit more complicated?
What, for the first game or both games?
Let's go for the first game for now and then do the second game.
Yeah, so I got an email from one of their producers on LinkedIn that sort of said, you know, dear Mr. Kirkhope, would you like to work on one of our projects? We think you'd be a good fit. And I was like, yeah, whatever it is. And so they emailed me to say it's a rabbit. It's called Rabbids Kingdom Battle. It was called. I was like, oh, I like the Rabbids. I think they're cool, and my kids watch the cartoons, right? So I thought that was good. So I thought it'd be fun to do it. But I didn't know it was a Mario game. No one told me that, right? So when I finally got turned up at Paris to go meet with them to look at the game, and they turned the TV on Mario stood there, and you know, Davide decided to move Mario around. I was like, you know, what's this? He said, well, it's a Mario game. Has no one told you that? I was like, no. So I was like in complete shock. Like, I just thought, most I was thinking, how on earth am I going to write music for a Mario game when Koji Kondo is the greatest video game composer of all time, and I'm not? And how am I going to do that? You know, so that was a bit. I kind of, you know, I was thinking the first hour, I was just sat there with no colour on my face, thinking, "Oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. Everyone's going to hate me forevermore." You know, so it worked out right in the end, but at the start, I was worried about it.
Are there any composers that you very much idolise in the industry, or is it just after you've met one, you've met them all?
No, I think, you know, I honestly, I don't think I follow any really video game composers. I mostly follow like film guys, and that's not because I don't think video game composers are good. I think they're all really good. I just try to avoid hearing their stuff so I could pull my own stuff out my head. So, but I guess I do pull from the movie thing. So I'm a big John Williams fan, Alan Silvestri, Danny Elfman, you know, those kind of people. So, but I've got plenty of friends like Austin Wintry, Danny Baranowski, Jimmy Hinson, that I know that are all great composers. Gareth Coker, I know Gareth Coker very well. He's another great composer. So I know they're around. And I do hear the stuff eventually, but I just try to avoid it a little bit. I want to try and keep myself if I can. That much.
Now I'll go back to Sparks of Hope. Did they just approach you again, like we like what you've done with Kingdom Battle, we want you to do it again? Yeah,
it's more or less that. And like by that point, me and Davide Soliani and also the audio director, Roman Brio, were very good friends, and we still are very good friends. So I knew they were going to do a second game, and they already sort of said we want you to do it, so I kind of knew that was going to happen. But you know, you never know, do you? Anybody can change their ideas. So I was very grateful that they asked me to do it. And also we are still very good friends. So it was great to come back and do it again.
But also, you're not really writing just for Mario, you're writing for Rayman, you're writing for Donkey Kong, you're writing for the Rabbids as well.
Right.
Is it like a different style you're leaning into each time there's either a DLC or a different like character swap, or is it just
I think Sparks of Hope's a bit different to the first game. I feel like it's a bit more cinematic, a bit more kind of like in the cinematic sequences. I was trying to kind of borrow from that sort of that Avengers Marvel sound for the cinematic sequences. But the game stuff is a different sound. I think a little bit more, and also with Yoko Shimomura in that game and Gareth Coker. So it was a blend of all of us, right? So I think you do your job, right? They tell you what they want to write, you do your job, and you hope that you write the right music for it. So as I said, we're great friends. So it's a really great process, that is.
And final question: if you could go back to any point in your career, just anywhere, even before, during, or even after, actually, what would you tell yourself? And also, where are you going?
Start video games a bit earlier. I didn't start working in video games until I was 33, so I was quite late in life. I played in rock bands for like 11 years, from like university till 33. So I just had no idea that video games were even a composer was even a job. It never occurred to me until a friend got a job. Robin Beanland, who does Conker Bad Fur Day and Sea of Thieves and Jet Force Gemini and Killer Instinct. He does all those games. He got a job working at Rare first, and then suggested I could maybe try and apply and get a job there. So his idea, really. So yeah, I think I maybe could have started a bit early, but I really feel like I got in at a good time. Like my first gig was on the Game Boy, and then I did Goldeneye. So I think I've been very fortunate over the years to work on some great games. I've been very lucky. I mean, I don't take that lightly. No, I think I'd say that. Start a bit earlier.
Well, thank you very much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff, so we can continue interviewing awesome people like Grant over here.
I don't have awesome, but that's all right. Thank you for asking me.
I've been Eli. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Great stuff.